Hey there, Internet, and welcome back to Sweet Fuse at your side and the Bloodstained Hospital, or whatever it's called. It's all very ominous. In this episode, we are going to go with Shido and Mayoshi. Well, Shido is reliable, and Mayoshi seems to know quite a bit about games. Can I go with you guys?
了解した。
Yep, keep smirking at me. That's normal. And that was that.
ひとまずそれぞれの健闘を祈る。何かあっても残念ながら携帯での連絡は許可されていない。
Well, ain't you just a bubbling wellspring of optimism? Speaking of...
まあ自分たちで何とかするしかないってことだな。
Speaking of bubbling wellspring of optimism, I need more coffee.
何でもどんとかかってこいってのは。
Thankfully, a new pod is on its way. ETA, 8 minutes. Hopefully this episode will be done and I'll be able to drink something. We nodded to each other as a piglet came trotting out to meet us. I'm sorry, that was completely TMI. But I like talking about my caffeine. What the heck is this guy saying? I was still trying to figure out what we were supposed to do when Mayoshi spoke up.
これつけろって言ってる。
Wow, at least one of us speaks Piglet.
彼らの言葉がわかるのですか。
These creatures. They're human beings like us.
なんとなくだけど。
Right, of course. If Mayoshi's the traitor, I'm gonna kick myself. Now that he'd said it, though, I could see that the piglet was holding several watch-like things out toward us. With little hearts on them. Because this is a girl's game. Are these watches?
横にスイッチがついてるよ。
Press it. When I pressed the button, like a smart person, the LCD panel lit up.
これは心拍計か。
Oh, goody! Terror gauges! Yeah, I think you're right. See, there's a little heart icon next to the number.
多分これは恐怖ゲージだ。
I feel smart, because Mayoshi's smart, and Mayoshi said the same thing that I did.
なるほどな。さっきお前さんが言ってた理屈からすると、心拍数が一定の数値を超えるとゲームオーバーってわけか。
Well, this makes things infinitely easier. On Hogstein. He scratched at his beard, and the piglet nodded vigorously.
全員がこれをつけるとなると、一人でも数値を超えたらゲームクリア失敗になるのか。
I wouldn't put it past Hogstein. It's saying something.
7人中3人がゲームオーバーになるとクリア失敗だって。
You are very good at foreign languages and sign language and whatnot. Still wasn't sure how he understood them, but the piglet didn't show any signs of objecting, so he must have gotten it right. Wait, no, why am I thinking about how Mayoshi understands them? It's because it's the most important thing right now.
7人中3人。半分以下の人数でアウトとは思いのほかハードだな。
I believe in us.
僕もうダメかも。
Don't worry, Wakasa. I'll give you a hug. That'll help you.
んだよ。入る前からビビりやがって。落ち着けっつうの。
Hey, lay off the rage, bruh. Okay, no physical contact between you two. It's banned. Banned forever.
たくビビりすぎだろ。
Possibly not.
そっちこそいきなり背中叩かないでよ。
Exactly, that was just mean.
とにかく3人アウトでクリア失敗だ。口で言っても難しいかもしれないが、あまり怖がりすぎないようにしてくれよ。
Fear is a construct of the mind, after all. I'm just tired enough to be able to say that. Gosh, I hope it doesn't get too bad in there in the bloodstained hospital of zombies. We split off into our groups, and I headed toward the leftmost door with Shido and Mayoshi.
懐中電灯があるな。持っていこう。
Free flashlight! Or torch for anybody else. He plucked the flashlight from the hook to the side of the entrance and pushed the door open. Oh, that sounds good. That's good. Oh, this is even better.
暗いね。
Yeah, this is great. This is spectacular. Yeah, it's dark in here. That's why we got a
行
flashlight.
くぞ。はぐれないように気をつけろ。
Don't you dare interrupt me again, Shido. Yeah, let's not get separated. Let's hold hands! And sing camp songs. With only the flashlight to see by, we headed deeper into the hospital. The whole place smelled dank and moldy, and it was cold enough to make me shiver. Our footsteps sounded loud in the empty hallway, and when a voice suddenly echoed over the intercom, I nearly stumbled.
聞け不死者の迷宮は聖者の魂を喰らう忍び寄る死の足音に目を凝らし耳を澄ますんだ
Nice. That's hospitality for ya.
不死者の迷宮。魂を食らう。
A nice, friendly voice warning us of the dangers in this hospital.
忍び寄る死の足音に目を凝らし耳を澄ます
I bet it's harmless. What does all that mean? The flashlight showed us the decayed, peeling walls of the hallway and pieces of something scattered across the floor.
アナウンスの意味は不明だが、ひとまずここには何もなさそうだな。先を急ごう。
Of course, I bet we're totally alone in this maze. Yeah. We began to move forward again. Gah! I felt something crunch underneath my foot. The alarm on my terror gauge began to go off.
おい、落ち着け。コンクリの破片を踏んだだけだ。
Are you certain? Are you certain it wasn't human remains? His voice was soft as he laid a reassuring hand on my shoulder. Right. I took slow, deep breaths, and after a few seconds, the alarm slowed and finally stopped. I'm sorry. I'm okay now.
アウトにならなかったから気にしないでいいよ
Yeah, we're totally good. We're A-okay.
そうだな。落ち着いたところで先に進もう。
Sure, let's go. Right. The announcement hadn't been metaphorical when it described the hospital as a labyrinth. The hallways turned and twisted everywhere, like a maze. I bet that was on purpose. Purposeful. Feels like we could get lost in here really easily, she said as they turned a corner and were lost.
ああ、目印をつけながら進むことにしよ
Like with what? Shido pulled a pen out from a pocket in his suit and carefully drew a mark on the concrete.
こうしておけばもし迷ってもまだ通ってない道がわかるね
That's handy. Like Hansel and Gretel.
う。ああ、もっともヘンゼルが撒いたパンくずは小鳥に食べられてしまい、印を見失ってしまったがな。
Lol. You're hilarious, Shido. I tried to keep joking as we moved forward, hoping that as long as I didn't think about how scary everything was, I wouldn't set off my terror gauge again. Shido and Mayoshi seemed to share my sentiments, and for a while we managed almost non-stop banter. We left marks behind us as we moved, and eventually arrived at a staircase leading to the second floor.
あそこに病院内の案内板がある
Oh goody!
どれ？
He brought the flashlight up to illuminate it. Nightmare maze, vivisection lab, records. One of these things is not like the other.
まだ先は長そうだな。
急いだ方がいいみたいだね
Alright, let's get a move on. We continued talking as we climbed the stairs, and at the top we found another pitch-black hallway. The maze is going to make meeting our deadline tough, but do you think there are going to be traps and stuff too?
ないわけはないと思うんだが。
Point. Shido shook his head, but before I could respond, Mayoshi spoke up.
聞こえる
What? Ew, it smells gross. And by smells, I mean sounds, because synesthesia.
ほら
Yeah, I hear it. Or rather, I smell it. That is a questionable squishy smell. Noise. I cannot word today. From somewhere in the maze, I could hear a slow, awkward shuffling noise. Whatever it was coming closer.
俺が確認してこよ
Yeah, you do that. Go be a manly man, cop man. He shoved the flashlight into my hands as he spoke, then moved up to the intersection and peeked around the corner.
う。おい、明かりを消せ。
Gotcha! I scrambled to turn it off, and Shido made his way back toward us. What was it?
化け物だ。
Oh, that's reassuring. Eee. At Shido's direction, we hid ourselves behind a nearby pillar. Why would you say it's a monster when we're in the middle of a terrifying hospital? Why can't you just say, oh, don't worry about it, it's one of Hogstein's goons? Calm down. Breathe. I mean, I'd freak out a lot less if you said, oh yeah, it's a goon, dressed up as a monster. After a few tense minutes. That's actually startling. Wow, that was weird. Gah! It's got an axe in his head. And a gun! Oh dear. That's another thing you could have told me. A guy with a gun. Shido had been right to call it a monster. The creature's skin was peeling off, and its body was warped and twisted by scars and lesions. Moaning, labored breathing accompanied its shuffling footsteps. I said that wrong. Don't think about it too hard. In one hand, it carried a submachine gun that looked sort of like an Uzi. That's good. I'm glad this happened. The noise we heard was its footsteps. I clapped my hand over my mouth, but as I did, the alarm on my bracelet suddenly began to ring. Oh, and it's much faster this time. Before I could even react, Miyoshi put his hand over the bracelet, muffling the noise. Right, yeah, whatever you say, man. I shut my eyes tight and let out a shallow, wavering breath. Breath. Oh, man. Miyoshi, you have no idea how I'm struggling. His voice in my ear was a calm whisper. We kept our bodies as still as stones. That is an annoying sound. I woke up to that sound this morning.
どうやら言ったようだな。
Oh, good. Let's move on. Let's get out of here as quickly as possible. At last, the alarm from my bracelet went silent. I dislike survival horror. This is something I'm very bad at. Thanks, Miyoshi. Sorry.
気にしなくていいよ。あんなのが出てきたらびっくりしてもしょうがないよ。
You're such a wonderful person.
しかし、さっきのあれは一体なんだ。
It looked like a zombie with a gun to me, which might be the most terrifying thing from my nightmares ever.
ゾンビだよ。
He said matter-of-factly. Excuse me? Now that I thought about it, Miyoshi had mentioned before that the attraction was based on a game that involved trying to avoid being caught by zombies.
奴が持っていたのは片手でも撃てる機関銃だ。見つかったら蜂の巣にされる危険性がある。
So, while I'm scared of the zombie, you're scared of the guy with the gun. This works. This works. He looked a little nervous. Well, we've still got to make it through here without setting off our terror gauges. Now we've just got to watch out for zombies, too.
ああ、慎重に行くしかないな。
We'll be fine. I believe in us. So we headed deeper in, taking care to listen for more zombies. The further we went, though, the more the hallways crisscrossed, meaning zombies could come from any direction. Shido and Miyoshi seem fine. Are they even scared at all? I forced myself to take long, deep breaths in an attempt to calm my racing heartbeat, but... What could that have been? We're not going to be able to find out in this episode, so why don't you tune in next time and check out who could have screamed in the darkened hallways of the blood-stained hospital. So until next time, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you again soon.